Global War 36 enthusiast here with Operation No Time to Die, 16.4, the Commonwealth. It is January 1944. If you remember from 16.3, Boston Bruce had a light cruiser, I think it was in C-Zone 143, and it fled to go all the way over to C-Zone 116, and I have named that light cruiser the brave Sir Robin. So hopefully it will live to see better days, and this will prove to be a great, brilliant tactical move for Boston Bruce to flee the terrifying Anzac with their mighty forces. I just love that now all I have to do is just go boo, and Boston Bruce jumps. It's about time, because the rest of the game I've been jumping. So, shoes on the other foot, my friend. So I have two tech rolls. I'm going to roll for long-range aircraft and radar for Britain. Let's see what I get for long-range aircraft. I succeed with a 9. And then for radar, I succeed with a 7. So 2 successes. It's probably neither one of them is going to be developed by the end of the game. I'm at stage 1 for long-range aircraft and stage 2 for radar. Okay, let's go over purchases. I think I've got that. Yep. Okay, so Great Britain has 57 to spend. I'll upgrade 1 militia for 2, 2 Marines for 8, that's 10, 2 Mountain for 8, that gets us up to 18, 2 Fighters for 20, 38, 1 Anti-Aircraft Artillery for 4, that's 42, 2 Colonial Infantry for 8, that's 50, 2 Militia for 4, that's 54. I'm going to begin construction of an air base in the Line Islands for 2, that's 56. And then this last damaged rail represents my ironic repair of the rail in Istanbul that I strategically bombed, and now I'm paying money to undo my strategic bombing. I tip my hat to you there, Panzer J, on turning the tables on me. So, FEC purchases. I have 15 IPPs to spend. I'll upgrade 1 militia for 2. I'll purchase a cavalry for 3, that's 5. Lend-lease 1 fighter to KMT for 10, and that brings us up to 15. Anzac purchases, I have 15 IPPs to spend. I'll get 1 air transport for 8. I'll complete construction of the major dockyards in New Britain for 3, that's 11. And then I'll lend-lease a Marine to the USA for 4, that's 15 IPPs. Combat movement. Okay. So I'm going to have 1 artillery here in Punjab move into southern Iran, and also 2 Gurkhas from Maharashtra will move into southern Iran. And that will raise up Britain. I've hidden that for myself under all my purchases. I don't want to move that, so let me remind myself how much southern Iran. Oh, it's worth 2. Okay, so Japan drops 2 down to 46, and Great Britain goes up 2 to 34. All right. Next, I'm going to have 4 infantry and 1 anti-aircraft artillery over there in Istanbul. Let's zoom in a little bit. We'll move up into Bulgaria. So that's the 4 British infantry here, and then this 1 AA gun. That will move into Bulgaria, and Bulgaria is worth 1. So Germany drops 1, and Britain goes up 1. Britain's up to 35, Germany drops down to 75. So much for my visions of knocking Germany down below USA. That's not happening anymore. Okay, let's go over here a bit and take a look at the Spanish theater. So this 1 transport here is going to pick up 1 Marine, or 2 Marines from Gibraltar, and then move, drop one of them off in the Canary Islands, not worth anything, and drop the other one off in Spanish Morocco, not worth anything. Okay, this infantry here in Gibraltar will move up into Murcia, Valencia, not worth anything. And this one from Gibraltar will move into Andalusia, not worth anything. That only leaves 3 militia in Gibraltar with the fortification. Okay, one of these American transports, yeah, that's on, just right here. This American transport is holding 2 British infantry. They will debark there in Leon, Castile, which is worth 1 IPP. So that's 1 up for Britain and 1 down for Germany. Germany drops down to 74. Britain goes up to 36. And then I think my last combat movement is strategic bombing. Let me double check on that, see if I'm missing anything. Oh, no, there isn't. Before I do that, I am going to do carpet bombing, but that's not on screen. I need to swivel the camera a little bit because there's going to be some amphibious assault of Spain. So I've got these 5 transports here in C-Zone 24. And they're going to move over here to C-Zone 25, and they're going to pick up 2 anti-aircraft artillery from London, and they're going to pick up 4 infantry from London. They're going to pick up 1 infantry from the British Midlands, 1 anti-aircraft artillery from the British Midlands, and 2 medium armor from the British Midlands. And so I have 5 transports. Let's review. I end up with 5 infantry, 3 anti-aircraft artillery, and 2 medium armor. And they will move down here to C-Zone 33. So let's look at what happened. They went over here to 25, that's 1. Back to 24, that's 2. And down here to 33, that's 3. They can do that because there's a major port there. And they will drop off all these units in Asturias, Navarre. And that is not worth any IPPs. So all these guys are down here in Asturias, Navarre. Between turns I can clean that up. Okay. And then the last combat movement is that strategic bomber is going to fly out of London, go to Belgium, and strategic bomb that militia. I could hit the Netherlands or Belgium. Those are the only safe targets that I could strategic naval bomb. I'm not so keen on bombarding rail and then capturing it and repairing it. That's turned out to be a really useless tactic for me. So let's see, is there any other combat movement on my list? No. We can now proceed to the combat phase. That's going to involve us swiveling over here and zooming in a bit. Okay. All right, so let's check this out. Oh, no. Oh, no. I definitely forgot an important move. How did I miss that? What else did I miss? I got the... Oh yeah, I skipped a whole section. Okay, sorry, we need to go back. It's after the Istanbul. There is still some more combat movement to be had. An important move that Madman Dan, pretty much every good move, all good moves are Madman Dan's. Okay, here in C-Zone 52, I have 3 transports there. They have Istanbul for a major port, so that gives them a move of 3. They're going to do something similar to what happened with the transports that were coming off England and dropping onto Spain. These guys are going to move 1 over to C-Zone 53, pick up some units, 2 down to 81, and then back up here to 51. They're going to end up in 51, those 3 transports. And they're going to pick up, let's see, what do we have? They pick up 1 medium armor from Cars, and they pick up 2 infantry, a medium armor, and two infantry from cars. I wrote down the wrong thing. Okay, so they pick up those 3 units from cars. They pick up 1 medium armor and 1 anti-aircraft artillery from Anatolia. They come down here and they pick up 1 infantry from Eastern Egypt. So I have 3 transports, 3 infantry, 2 medium armor, 1 anti-aircraft artillery, and they all drop off in Albania. All these units are here in Albania. I bet Madman Dan was worried when I skipped that. I knew there was something I was missing. Okay, so all of those guys are in Albania, not worth anything. Kind of the theme. I took a lot of stuff, but not worth anything. And then there's another attack that I'm doing here on the German naval units in Sea Zone 49. You know, when Knights Templar declared war on Spain, it aligned to Germany, and these units converted over into German units. So this medium bomber in Eastern Egypt is going to fly 1, 2, 3, then a tactical bomber that's in Sea Zone 79. You can't see that. Here we are, over here in Sea Zone 79, take off the carrier and go 1, 2. And then this torpedo boat destroyer from Sea Zone 79 will go 1, 2 into 49. So it'll basically be a torpedo boat destroyer, a medium bomber, and a tactical bomber attacking the heavy cruiser. And then we'll see what happens if we kill the heavy cruiser. Then, of course, the transport will be destroyed as well. So really there's only 2 attacks. There's this one and then the carpet bomb attack. That's all the combat rolling that I will have. Let me double check. Yep, okay. That's all I've got. Sorry for that sidetrack back to combat movement. Now I think we can go to the combat phase and see the outcome of these rolls. All right. Is that gonna move? All right. So let's do the attack with the heavy cruiser as our first attack. I have a, let's see, I have a torpedo boat destroyer at a 2, and then I have a medium bomber. I'm rolling these separately because my tactical bomber, it doesn't really matter that my tactical bomber has target selection because I've only got 1 target to select. Still, I'm going to roll them separately just out of principle. Here's my medium bomber, no target selection at 7. 3, it did hit. Here's it would have missed. Okay, the tactical bomber's the word I'm looking for. And here's 1 at 6 for the heavy cruiser. And he missed. Okay, well, I was expecting to lose. It doesn't really matter. It was a torpedo boat destroyer. But anyway, his 2 boats go to the bottom. And my torpedo boat destroyer lives for a moment. He has those fighters in Madrid, could easily hit it. Let's see. I have 3 at 2 because I am carpet bombing in Belgium. I'm carpet bombing in militia. 3 shots at 2. And I do hit. Okay, so I had 2 IPPs of damage in Belgium. These minor little victories. I think that's the end of my combat phase. Now we go on to non-combat movement. Let's zoom out the camera and we'll swivel down to Australia. Gonna be having a lot of non-combat movement down there. Okay, so you can see I've got that submarine there. I'm going to move that submarine 1, 2, 3 up to Sea Zone 126. A lot of my units are going to be going to 126. I think you can just barely make out that. Here, I'll get that naval transport in screen. That naval transport in Sea Zone 147 is going to pick up 1 infantry and 1 mountain infantry from New Zealand, and it's going to move 1, 2 up here and drop them off in New Guinea. That's a mountain infantry and an Anzac infantry in New Guinea. Then I am going to have this coastal submarine. The British coastal submarine is going to move up to Sea Zone 126, the sea zone for New Guinea. Let's go up to New Guinea. I have to zoom out so you can see what's going on there. There's New Guinea with the 2 damaged battleships. I really like these damage markers. Let me see if I can get that on screen. Zoom in on them for you. I really love those damage markers. They're from Combat Miniatures, and they have kind of a, let me just tilt it sideways. You can see it's got an explosion both on the bottom and on the side of it, and then the smoke. Anyway, really nice. They're my favorite damage marker. Okay. Now I think we've got some movement in Australia proper. Zoom out a little bit so you can see what's going on there. All right, so I'm going to move 1 infantry, 1 artillery, and 1 anti-aircraft artillery, these 3, up to Queensland. That was, wait, did I say infantry? Should have been 1 militia moves from New South Wales up to Queensland. Sorry, I said infantry, but it's a militia, anti-aircraft, and artillery. I'm going to have 1 artillery move from New South Wales over to southern Australia. And then I'm going to rail. Well, I don't think I'm not going to rail. This guy's going to move down here to Sydney, from New South Wales down to Sydney. Over here, can we see the top of that? No, I have to zoom out a little bit. We're going to move over to Western Australia with 2 militia and 1 infantry from Northern Australia over to Western Australia. So just reviewing, Queensland has 2 militia, 2 infantry, an artillery, and an anti-aircraft artillery, along with a fighter. And Western Australia has 2 militia and 2 infantry, airborne infantry, air transport, and then this fighter is going to fly to British Malaya from Western Australia. All right, let's see. Is that all my Australian moves? Okay, that's everything that's going on in Australia. Now let's swivel over to Vietnam. Okay. In Anatonkan, I have an Anzac motorized infantry and an artillery that are going to move into Kwang Tung. So I've got the Anzac motorized and the Anzac artillery out of the FEC force. The rest of the FEC force that's in Anatonkan is going to move up to Yunnan. So let's review that again. It's 7 British infantry, 6 Gurkhas, 4 British artillery, 2 anti-aircraft artillery. That's what's in Yunnan. In Siam, I'm going to take 1 British infantry and move it into Anatonkan. And I'm going to use another infantry from Siam and move it to Burma. So there's 2 in Siam, 1 in Burma, 1 in Anatonkan, and then I have an Anzac infantry in Cochin, China, and I have 8 militia, a fighter, and then the American medium bomber in British Malaya. Calcutta will have 1 infantry move from Calcutta to Bengal. I'm going to have that jet fly to British Malaya. I'm going to have 6 infantry that are in southern India are going to move over to Maharashtra. Still got that cavalry that has not moved. Let's go over to, oh, you can see, no, you cannot. Let's go over to Iran. So I'm going to have Azerbaijan has 1 infantry. It'll move into Kars. Iraq has 1 infantry. It will also move into Kars. So Kars has 2 British infantry. The 2 artillery that are in Kars are going to move over to Anatolia. The infantry and anti-aircraft that are in Anatolia are going to move over to Istanbul. Got kind of the amoeba chain moving along. The 2 infantry that are in Transjordan are going to move down to eastern Egypt. I'm feeling like I've left eastern Egypt just a little bit weak, a little bit nervous about that. I don't think he's going to come into the war, but you never know. Okay, the whole British Armada that's in Sea Zone 52 is going to move over to Sea Zone 51. So let's review. It is a light carrier with a tactical bomber, 2 battleships, 1 battle cruiser, 4 heavy cruisers, 1 coastal defense ship, 1 British light cruiser, 1 Anzac light cruiser, 4 destroyers, 2 torpedo boat destroyers, 1 submarine. That has all moved into Sea Zone 51 with the 3 transports. And coming from Sea Zone 79 is a little remnant force. This light carrier and destroyer in Sea Zone 79 are going to move over to Sea Zone 51. So that force is coalesced together. Let's look at what other movement I need to do. Okay, down in Belgian Congo. This is really, here we go. This is the way to do it, I think. Barely got Belgian Congo in there. You can see I have a cavalry there. It's going to go 1-2 to Nubia. Let's rotate around. Get that Nubia move. The medium bomber and tactical that are in Sea Zone 49 need to find places to land. The medium bomber will come down and land in northern Algeria. The tactical bomber will go back and land on the carrier. So let's review. That tactical bomber came from 79. It went 1-2, and then it goes 3-4 and lands on that carrier, the light carrier that moved to Sea Zone 51 from 79. Okay. Got myself distracted. All right. 1 naval transport from Sea Zone 79 that did nothing here. One of them was used to drop off the 2 Marines. This other one is just going to go 1-2 and join the other 5 naval transports. So I have 6 there in Sea Zone 33. I'm going to take all the naval units that are all the British naval units that are remaining in Sea Zone 24, and they're all going to move down to Sea Zone 33. Sorry, didn't have that on camera. They were here, they're going to move here. So let's review what's in the task force that's in this marker. It is 1 light carrier with a fighter, 1 battleship, 1 heavy cruiser, 2 coastal defense ships, 2 light cruisers, 5 British destroyers, and 1 Anzac destroyer. And then, we have the 6 naval transports there as well. Okay, that's all in Sea Zone 33. Now, I'm going to have the submarine that is in Sea Zone 25 here, this British submarine, is going to move down to Sea Zone 79. So it can move 4 because there's a major port there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to have some English movement. Might need to zoom out a bit to get everything on the map there. There we go, I think I got it. Okay, so up there in Scotland, I'm going to rail. Well, let's wait on my rail movement. I'm going to have these 2 infantry in northern England will just walk down into the British Midlands. the 2 Marines that are in London will walk over to the British Midlands. What that's going to do is it's going to get me 5 Marines and 3 infantry in British Midlands. Plus, I've got the 1 anti-aircraft gun. So let's see, that gets me up to 3 infantry and then 5 Marines, 2 militia, 3 fighters. That's what is in, and then an anti-aircraft gun, and an American anti-aircraft gun. Now that I said that, I'm going to fly 3 fighters out of there down to Gibraltar. So 3 fighters are going to fly from British Midlands down to Gibraltar. So I know when I said that Eastern Egypt was pretty weak, that probably Panzer J was licking his chops thinking that Gibraltar was even weaker, but now I think Gibraltar's not looking like it's on the menu anymore. The strategic bomber that carpet bombed Belgium is going to fly back and land in London. The 3 fighters that are in London are going to move over and land in British Midlands. Okay. Let me double check my list. I think we're done with movement and ready for things like strategic naval movement. I believe that's all my movement. So now it's going to be rails. Let's do rails. Scotland is going to rail to British Midlands. So that'll get us up to 4 infantry and 5. Oh, I've also got the Americans. I forgot about the Americans there's 5 Americans in British Midlands too. Okay, and then my next rail is going to be a rail from South African Union all the way to Istanbul. It's such a pain to get the mount all the way down to South African Union. I'm just going to rail this cavalry that I bought last turn. Goes all the way up to Istanbul. Let's see. The last rail is I'm going to rail here in Asia from Maharashtra. There's a cavalry that I did not move this turn, is going to rail all the way to Burma. I guess it'll go to Anam Tonkin and then go from, well, can it go from Anam Tonkin? I don't know if I can take the Burma Road. Can I take the Burma Road? This is a question. Madman Dan was saying that I could get to Yunnan and then from Yunnan take the river to Kwai Chau, but I leave it to the commenters and my opponents. Is it legal for me to rail that cavalry to Kwai Chau? I do have a rail between Bengal and Burma, but the Burma Road, I suppose I can use if I can lend lease well, no, I don't know. I don't know if you can rail across the Burma Road. I honestly don't know. So I throw that out there. Whatever the consensus is, I will follow on that. Those are my rails. I only have 1 strategic naval move, and that's over here with that last transport that I didn't use. I had 3 here. 1 just moved up to 33. 1 shuttled a couple Marines. This last guy is going to go up to Sea Zone 3 off the coast of Scotland. So 1 to get to Sea Zone 48, 1 to Sea Zone 32, 1 to 23, another 1 to 10, and then finally to Sea Zone 3. I hope that I've counted this correctly. I believe Sea Zone 3, he can't hit me. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a mountain infantry in northern England, and that guy will be able to go. Let me double check. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he can't. I don't think he can hit me either with his fighter in Britain or with the fighters in Paris. So the idea is that the next turn I can move from Sea Zone 3, pick up my mountain infantry, and still drop them off in 33. So that's the plan of attack there. That was my only strategic naval movement. Now placement of units. So up in England, I'm going to do what I said and put a mountain infantry in northern England. And then I've got 5 units that can be placed in London. The 5 units will be the 2 fighters, the 2 marines, and the remaining mountain will all get placed in London. That's 5. And I'll clean that up between turns. So in London, there's the 2 militia that were already there at the start of the turn. 1 airborne, 1 strategic bomber, 2 fighters, 2 marines, and 1 mountain. Okay. I'm going to build a militia here in Gibraltar, and I'm going to upgrade a militia in Gibraltar because I had 1 militia upgrade that I was doing. And essentially what that's going to do is it's going to just create an infantry. So you can't build colonial infantry in Gibraltar, but by doing that trick of building 1 militia and upgrading a militia that's already there, you can essentially kind of build a colonial infantry in a place like Gibraltar. Okay, so I've got 1 more militia, and I'm still going to beef up Eastern Egypt a little bit more. I'm going to put that 2nd militia in Eastern Egypt. So I have 3 militia in Gibraltar and 3 militia in Eastern Egypt. And then I had 2 colonial infantry that I purchased. I'm going to put those 2 in Eastern Egypt. So, dissuading Panzer J's ambitions, because he likes to be a man of his word, and he said he was going to have an active Italy this game. You know, he was talking a lot of trash at the start of the game, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then the anti-aircraft artillery is going to be placed in South African Union. I've got the air base. I'm beginning construction of an air base in the Line Islands. So I need to finish that next turn or the turn thereafter, but it started in the Line Islands. And I'm going to repair that 1 rail in Istanbul. I could only rail into Istanbul. I couldn't rail any further because of that damage. But now that that's repaired, at some future point I could rail into Bulgaria. Okay. That is the end of British placement. Now we have the FEC placement. So the FEC is going to upgrade 1 militia here in British Malaya into an infantry. And I built 1 cavalry that will go in Calcutta. And then I have a Lend-Lease fighter to the KMT. So now this guy, I can go through the Burma Road. I will start off in Calcutta, I'll rail over to Burma, then I'll take the Burma Road over to Yunnan. So the Chinese have a fighter, another fighter. All right, now it is placement of Anzac units. I purchased an air transport that will go in Sydney. And I am completing construction of the major dockyards in New Britain. Let's get that on screen camera so you can see both those things, that the air transport is in Sydney. And then in New Britain, I have a major dockyard. Okay. And then I have a Lend-Lease Marines to the USA. I'll start off in Sydney. I'll rail up to Queensland. I'll leave this major dock. See, I can't leave from Sydney because I don't have a major naval facility. And since the Marine costs more than 3, I need a major naval facility. So I bring it up here to Queensland. It starts off in the factory. And then I send it across where it debarks in San Francisco. So San Francisco now has 1 Marine, along with those 2 militia and the cavalry. All right. The Great Britain collects 36, plus 3 for the Suez, plus 2 for no submarines convoy raiding me. So I have 41 IPP, and then I roll for wartime economy. Let's see if I can do better than my friend Boston Bruce did this turn. Maybe match what he did last turn. 2d6. You know what that is? That's karma. That is delicious karma. Oh my goodness, that's what I get for talking trash to my friend Boston Bruce. So I had 41 plus 5. Sometimes I'm bad at math, but I think that gets me up to 46. So that makes me smile. That I would say that I want to get what he got last turn. I believe he rolled a 5 on the nose, just like I did. So that is funny. Well, let's see. Now we've got the FEC collection. They collect 11 plus 2 for Aden and Eastern Egypt. That's 13 IPPs. So that's what we have in the bank. And then Anzac. Anzac collects 9, plus there's no enemy surface ships within 2 of Australia, so I get 11 IPP in the bank. And that concludes turn 16.4. We now start 16.5, Free France's turn. So Free France has 8 to spend. They're going to purchase 1 air transport. That's it. I have combat movement. The Free French cavalry here in Istanbul is going to go 1-2 into Yugoslavia. And that will have the Free French go up by 3, and Germany will go down 3. So Germany, I always like to see if I can get them on this third line, is at 71, and Free France is tied with FEC right now at 11. I know it's only fleeting, but you have to enjoy your minor little victories when you're the pesky Commonwealth. That's the end of my combat movement. Non-combat movement. 2 infantry here in cars are going to move over to Anatolia, along with those artillery. And then 1 infantry here in Istanbul is going to move into Bulgaria. Then the 4 fighters that are in Istanbul are going to fly to northern Algeria. And is that on camera? That is not. Okay, I'm going to fly here to northern Algeria, but then the 4 fighters that are there in northern Algeria are going to fly to Asturia, Navarre. And the net effect of this is going to be, 4 fighters fly from Istanbul to here, and 4 fighters fly from here to Asturia, Navarre. I note I cannot fly over Madrid because there's fighters there, so I have to take an alternative path. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's my path to Asturia, Navarre. And there's 5 infantry there, 5 British infantry, 2 medium armor, and then the 3 anti-aircraft guns are in there as well. Okay. 1 air transport is going to pick up a mountain infantry in northern Algeria and then drop that off in Murcia, Valencia, and then go back and land in northern Algeria. I believe, this infantry and this airborne infantry move from Tunisia up to northern Algeria. Strategic rail movement. So remember how I said that if I repaired the Istanbul rail, then a unit could rail all the way to Bulgaria, and that's what this Free French infantry is going to do. It's going to join its fellow infantry, so we have 2 Free French infantry in Bulgaria, along with the 4 British infantry and the British anti-aircraft gun. Okay. That is the end of my movement. Placement of Free French units. I bought that air transport, and I'm going to get a second one. So I have 2 air transports here in northern Algeria. Okay. Free France collects 11 IPP. That's what they have in the bank. This is Global War 36. Turning this over to Panzer J and 16.6 Italy.